Prussian village. A thick blanket of snow covered the ground, and the frost made patterns in the window panes of a little house. Inside, a family were having breakfast at the kitchen table. It wasn't much, just tea and plain bread. But you'd never catch Alexis or his little sister Natasha complaining to their grandmother about that, or would you?
Boring bread again. Can we have some cakes with the tea, Granny?
Be quiet, you know there isn't any. I'll have your bread if it's so boring.
Don't squabble, children. Just you wait a bit, my dear. It's nearly Christmas. We'll have some cake then. Nothing like the cakes I had when I was a girl. Mine. Back then, my granny would spend a whole week cooking the most delicious things. On Christmas Day, we'd come back from church, light the lamp before the icon, and then sit down to eat. There'd be roast pork, potatoes, vegetables, all sorts. And the cakes, we had poppy seed cake, plum pudding, shortbread, treacle tart.
What's a church, Granny?
Don't interrupt. I was enjoying that. The church was that tall building on the hill. They used to store hay in it before they built the barn. Don't you know anything?
That's where you're wrong, lad. The church is not for storing hay. The church is the house of God himself. When I was a girl, we had an icon of St. Nicholas in our church. It was in a special place in the middle of the church. That icon was over 500 years old. Just imagine that.
What's icons, Granny?
Who's interrupting now?
You let him be. It's a fair question. An icon is painted of a holy person, but not just any old person, oh no. The artist who paints it puts his whole soul into it, and the beauty of it is nothing like the pretty pictures in your books. When I was a girl, we had an icon of St. Nicholas in our church. Everyone, rich ladies in beautiful dresses, children, beggars in rags, would go first, light their candles, kiss it, and say a prayer. That icon is our treasure.
Granny, where's the icon now?
Ah well, when I was 10 years old, the same age as you are now, Alexis, some soldiers came to our village.
I want to be a soldier when I grow up.
Not like those ones you don't. Nobody wanted that. But they came all the same. They had guns and whips and told us our beautiful church would be closed forever.
Forever?
So they said. They were going around the village shouting that anyone found inside the church would be arrested and sent far away. Then they put a heavy bar across the door, and that's that.
Granny, where are those soldiers now?
Nothing lasts forever, my dears. The soldiers who closed our church are gone themselves now, and there is no longer a heavy bar across the door.
It's Christmas tomorrow, isn't it? Can't we go and celebrate the church like you did when you were little?
And have all these anything to eat?
Oh, my dears, if only it were that simple. That church has been closed for 60 years. It's full of rubbish, birds' nests, mice, goodness knows what else.
We could give it to clean.
It would take a bit more than that, Alexis. You can't celebrate Christmas in church with no altar, no cross, no icon, no bread or wine, and no priest. I'm telling you, my dears, it would take a miracle to open that church again.
Alexis and Natasha went round to have a look at the old church. The door was unlocked and they went in. The children's grandmother was right. The church was a real mess. There were mice scampering across the dusty floor, there were cobwebs everywhere, and an empty bird's nest in the corner.
Can we go home, Alexis? Please?
Don't worry, it's not that bad.
I bet we can clean it up in no time. Clean it up? What with?
Here, this will make a good duster.
Okay, I can make a room with these twigs, but I'm not touching this spider web.
Great, you do that and I'll get rid of the spiders.
The two children worked hard for some time, sweeping, dusting, and polishing. After a while, they got tired and sat down for a rest.
The church looks a lot cleaner. Now what do we do? Wait here. I love the smell of pie.
There, that's pretty.
Oh no, somebody's coming. Don't worry, it's only the shoemaker and some others.
Alexis was right. can't hide anything in a small village. Somehow word got around that the two children were cleaning up the old church, and curious neighbors came in to have a look. One by one they came in. The teacher, the carpenter, the farmer, the shopkeeper, and the shoemaker. One after another, they all took turns in looking around the church. One after another, they returned to their homes with a big smile on their faces and a little secret in their hearts. Only the shoemaker stayed behind. He was an old man with a grey tangled beard. His shoulders were stooped from hunching over his work, and his hands were stained from tanning leather. He spoke softly.
Children, why have you swept out the church and laid pine boughs about?
So we can celebrate Christmas tomorrow.
Like our granny used to. Children, many times when I was fixing your boots, I would look at the holes you had worn in them and say to myself, the children are always one step ahead of us.
With these words, the shoemaker also went away. He had a little smile on his face and a big secret in his heart.
Well, Mother, is that porridge ready yet?
It's hot up the stairs.
When do you know when that porridge is ready, Mummy?
Bubbles and bubbles to itself all day, and when it's not talking anymore, it's done.
It's nice and hot.
It's Christmas Eve. Go fetch those parcels, Alexis.
This one's for you. Are they all for him?
No, this one's for you, Miss Patty.
Thank you, Mummy. Thank you, Daddy. I love them.
And this one's for you, Alexis.
Ooh, colouring pencils. And new boots. I really needed both of these. Thank you.
And here's something from me. May the new year be sweeter than the old one.
Gingerbread. Thank you, Granny.
I think that's enough excitement for one day. You, Alexis, go to bed while me and Natasha get tidy up the table.
Happy and excited, the children settled down to sleep. Little Natasha dropped off almost at once, hugging her new doll. But it was a different matter with Alexis. All night long, he tossed and turned, thinking about the empty church, all tidied up and waiting for a miracle. At first light, Alexis jumped out of bed, put on his new boots, his coat, his hat, and gloves, and hurried to the church. He didn't disturb his little sister, who was sleeping peacefully. The new snow crunched under Alexis's new boots as he made his way to the church. This was the only sound to be heard, and no wonder. It was barely dawn and there was no one about. Or was there? As Alexis opened the door to the church, he was astonished to find someone inside. His own teacher was standing by the altar table holding something in his hands.
Oh, son, I didn't know that you were going to be here at this time of day.
So you did in this church yesterday, and I wanted to bring this.
The door of the church opened, and the carpenter stepped softly in. He too was holding something precious in his hands.
My grandfather rescued this cross a day the church closed. All these years it has lay hidden under the floor of my workshop.
The people continued to come into the little church. Next to enter was the farmer.
The day this church closed, my father took these candlesticks and hid them in a sack of bread. He always hoped the day would come when he would return the candlesticks to the rightful place, but he didn't live long enough to see it. And every summer when I gathered the honey, I made candles from the wax waiting for the day to come.
Birthday is today, Christmas Day.
You're right, today's the day, so I brought these.
But what about your shop?
Because there's a special day and the shop is closed. Here's some red wine I've been saving for years. Here's the bread that I baked last night.
Found they were close by. The church door opened again, and Alexis's mother, father, came in leading his little sister Natasha by the hand.
Look what Granny has with her.
That's St. Nicholas.
That's alright.
Looks just like it did.
Now we have the icon, the cross, the candles, the bread and the wine, but we don't have a priest.
We must wait, and God will send us his priest.
The waiting went on for a long time. It had become properly light now, and the winter sun was shining brightly against the fresh snow. Tired from the early start, little Natasha was dozing in her grandmother's lap. The candles in the people's hands were burning evenly. Then all of a sudden, the church door opened, and a priest dressed in robes walked in. In his hands, he held the Holy Scriptures.
It's the shoemaker.
That's no shoemaker, my dear. That's our priest. Years ago, it was dangerous to be a priest. Priests were often put in prison, so we hid our priest in the village, and he became our shoemaker. But today, God returns our priest back again. I told you it would take a miracle, and so it did. You yourself have become a part of this miracle.
What's a miracle, Granny?
A miracle happens when God enters into your dream. But first, you have to hack the dream.